Hey guys, it's the TMI Queen. I'm equal parts having a good week and a bad week. What's gone bad is my TV that I just got. Mind you, it was for free, so I mean, it's whatever. My new to me TV just quit working out of the clear blue. This is what it looks like right now. You hit the power button and nothing happens. I've plugged it and unplugged it. I've used a different remote. I've put new batteries in the remote. It just doesn't work. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know why it doesn't work. I've tried troubleshooting. It doesn't work. And it's driving me crazy because I was not looking forward to having to buy a whole new TV. But that's looking like what's going to happen because I don't know how else I'm going to deal with that unless I move the TV from my bedroom, which doesn't really need to be in my bedroom. I need to move it back out into my living room. It's always something in this house. It's always something. But anyway, so I've been working on my meal plans, and the way that I've been doing that is picking a recipe out of a cookbook, and most recipes feed 2 to 4 people. So mostly it's 4 people. So each meal that I make is actually worth 4 meals or 3 meals. And so if I pick 2 recipes, that's 6 meals minimum, 8 meals maximum, and I can just make them on, like say Monday, Tuesday, and then reheat them throughout the week, and I've got a meal for every day of the week, and I really only have to cook twice. That's been working pretty nice for me, and so it makes recipe planning really easy, makes grocery shopping really easy. Just everything is really easy. I just pick 2 items that I want to make for the week, and I just buy all the ingredients for it. And if I already have the ingredients on hand, like some of the herbs and spices, if I already have those on hand, even better, less I have to buy. So that has been making meal planning very, very easy for me. Now I realize it's not the same for other people because, you have families and whatever, but for just me, it's pretty easy. As far as the exercising goes, this last week did not go great with all of that. I had my period last week. I had a migraine that pretty much lasted the whole entire length of my period. And then thought that maybe I would get started right on the 1st of the month. But I also had a migraine that Monday. And then I thought, okay, for sure Tuesday. And then they called me and said, hey, you've been on call for getting the COVID vaccine through our company. Do you want to get it? Because we had some cancellations. I'm like, yeah. And that takes me on my journey towards health because I did want to get vaccinated. Don't need any opinions on that because I've already formed mine. So, thank you for just skipping past that if you've got an opposite opinion on that. But yeah, so I really wanted to get this vaccine, and so I went and I got it, and then my next one will be the day after my birthday. It's my birth month, BT dubs. So this whole month has just been like about a journey towards health. So I'm doing vegetarian meals, I'm doing exercising on my treadmill, I'm getting my vaccine. Like, I just feel like everything is kind of coming together. And I've just been feeling really positive. Mentally, I've been feeling really well. So I don't know. I mean, I hope that this momentum doesn't stop because I'm really loving it and I'm feeling really focused and motivated. So here's hoping that just keeps going. I'm supposed to be looking at a new house to possibly build. I'm hoping maybe this Saturday. If not this Saturday, probably next Saturday. I'm gonna go look at that. So I wanted to tell you the little story time that I promised you about my house situation. Okay, so here's the story about the house. 2 years ago, I was living in an apartment in town about 5 minutes away from work, which was very convenient. But I knew I wanted to buy a house. Like, apartment living is great and all, but I wanted something of my own. And I knew I really have a short window of time before it gets to be too late to buy a house because I don't want to still be paying on it after I'm past retirement age. I want to have it paid off by the time I'm retirement age so that I can have a paid off house. That's the goal. I looked into a couple different options and just nothing was working out for me. I thought about buying just a house that was already built, but just the quality of houses was not great for the price that I was going to be paying. And it was more of a seller's market. So people were like offering above asking price for some of these places. And I'm like, I can't compete with that. And so my mom had recommended maybe building a house. And I was like, oh, that's a great idea. And that fell through because I could not come up with 20% down for a construction loan. I could come up with the 5% for a mortgage loan, but not 20% for a construction loan. It just wasn't possible. Had to give up that dream. And so then my son tells me he has a friend who is selling his friend's house. But they had said if I wanted to, I could move in early and rent until there was a business lien on the house for a restaurant that they owned. And that once that loan was paid off, then I could buy the house and they would just use my rent money as a down payment. I'm like, sounds perfect. And I was like, how much do you want for the house? It was way less than what I was hoping for a house price. So it was a cheap house. It was a house in good condition. It was close to work. It just had everything I wanted. And it was small. It was perfect. So I was so excited to get moved in. I got moved in. I started doing a little bit of work on it to kind of get a jump on things. And my mom was like, well, I wouldn't do too much work because, you still haven't like bought it yet. And I wouldn't put more money into it than I had to. I'm like, yeah, that's probably a good idea. So all I did was paint the walls. That was it. And just clean it up. But I was like, anything major is going to wait till after I bought it. So anyhow, about 2 months after I moved in here, the liaison that was basically working this whole deal says, hey, just wanted to let you know, we paid off the lien early. So the house is available to buy. I'm like, cool. I said, so I should go re-up my pre-approval because it just expired and I've been waiting to hear from you to find out when it was going to be available to buy before I did my pre-approval again. And he goes, yep, it's all ready. I said, okay, I'll go down then. And he goes, it'll take probably about a month to get all the purchasing paperwork put together. So he goes, if you're willing to be patient about that, I'm like, absolutely, it's fine. He goes, it is kind of the busy season. It was around Memorial Day weekend. So I knew in the restaurant industry that, especially in a beach town, it's really a busy time. And so I knew not much was going to get accomplished that week, but I figured a month was more than enough time, especially if he had somebody else drawing up the paperwork. And so a month goes by, I hadn't heard anything from him. So I was like, hey, just checking in, making sure. He's like, oh, it's just been so busy. And I'm like, yeah, it's probably not going to get a lot less busy since 4th of July is around the corner now. And he goes, right? And I said, well, do you want to like revisit this in like, the end of July? Because, your next busy time is going to be Labor Day. So that's 2 months from then. Let's maybe revisit this a couple weeks after 4th of July weekend. Does that sound good? And he goes, sounds perfect. And I said, if you want, I have a realtor friend that would be willing to drop the paperwork for us for free. She's already offered if that's something you would want to do. And he's like, no. I'm like, okay, well, I'm just throwing it out there. I said, your lawyers could look at it and approve it. You could look it over, approve it, whatever. But I'd like to do this sooner rather than later. And also this pre-approval is only good for a certain amount of time. So chop, chop. And he's like, yeah, no problem. He's like, I'll have it done in a few weeks. I'm like, okay, so when do you want me to hit you up again? And he goes, hit me up the first week of August. I said, okay, sounds good. So first week of August comes and goes, and I was like, I'm gonna give him an extra week because, he's so flaky already. I'm just like, let's give it even an extra week. So I waited an extra week and I was like, hey, just checking in. And he gets snotty with me. He goes, I said I was gonna do it. And I'm like, I understand that, but you told me to check in with you. So that's what I was doing. And he's like, I don't have time. I told you it was the busy season. I said, and I understand that, but you told me you were going to be able to do it. So that's why I'm asking. And you told me to check in with you. And I scream capped the conversation and sent it to him. I'm like, this is where you told me to check in with you. And he's like, oh. I said, once again, I'm offering to let my realtor friend drop the paperwork if that would make things easier for you. And he goes, it's not necessary. And so I talked to my realtor friend and I said, can you just draw it up for me? Like, I'm not even going to ask anymore because, I want to get this cracking. And she's like, yeah, sure, no problem. So she draws it up for me, emails me a copy to print off and to present to him. And so I figured I'd wait till after Labor Day weekend because then the slow season was coming and he wasn't going to get busy again until at least Thanksgiving. So I was like, okay, for sure, this isn't going to be an issue anymore. So I waited a few weeks after Labor Day weekend and I was like, hey, just checking in about the purchase agreement. And he doesn't answer me back. Now, mind you, he wasn't like Johnny on the spot or anything with answering me back, but he always answered me back. And I thought that was kind of weird. It seemed like he was ghosting me or something. And I was like, that's not good. And then I waited another week and I was like, hey, don't know if you got my last message, but I just wanted to see where you were at with the purchase agreement. And I said, by the way, I just went ahead and took the initiative, had my friend come up with a purchase agreement just in case you didn't have one ready yet. If you wanted to look that over and approve it, we could get going on this here in the next month. I'd like to get this taken care of. My pre-approval is only good for another month and then it's going to expire. So we really need to get cracking on this. He comes back and he goes, he's no longer interested in selling his house. And I'm not the calmest person. I'm going to be honest. I'm not the calmest person. But I flipped my lid. I was like, are you kidding me? Like, I could have stayed in the apartment that I was 5 minutes away from work. I wouldn't have had to move here. I wouldn't have had to haul all this crap here, have to get all new furniture because I didn't have enough furniture for the house. I wouldn't have had to do any of this stuff if I'd known you weren't going to sell the house in the first place. He goes, well, we're not kicking you out. I'm like, that's not the point. The point was I was supposed to be buying it. That was the whole purpose of moving. I wouldn't have moved otherwise. I was happy where I was. I was paying what I wanted to pay. So yeah, needless to say, I was very pissed. And so, I just kind of felt like giving up altogether. I'm like, I guess I'm just going to be renting the rest of my life. And my mom's like, let's just start looking at houses again, maybe in the spring. And I'm like, yeah, that's a good idea. She's like, yeah, you don't want to go look in the winter time because first of all, the houses are getting snapped up too fast. Plus, who wants to be trudging around in the bad weather? I'm like, right? She's like, let's plan for the end of March. We'll go start looking at houses. I'm like, that sounds like a great idea. Then COVID hit. So obviously didn't get that done. Then I ended up taking a pay cut. And after I got back from furlough, and it was temporary, but still enough to affect my ability to get a loan. And so I still couldn't even look at houses because I wasn't going to be able to get something in the price range I wanted based on what I was making. So finally, my mom goes, remind me again why we didn't end up building a house. And I said, well, because I don't have the down payment. And she's like, oh, that's right. She goes, what if you had it though? And I'm like, well, if I had it, shit, I'd buy a new house over living in an old, used, banged up house. I'd do that any day. And she's like, we might have a solution for that. So we worked something out. And if everything goes the way I'm hoping it will go, that's the plan here in the next month. I have a couple of floor plans picked out that I like. I don't know if it's in my price range or not. I don't know what the feasibility is of it. But if it works out, I'm hoping here in the spring to possibly start building a house. I'm not getting my hopes up too high because I've already had them dashed so many times. Just things that I thought it was going fine. I thought everything was working in my favor, and then something happened and got knocked back down again. So I'm not getting too hyped up about it because I can't get too hyped up about it anymore. So that's where I'm at now, and hoping everything works out. And if it does, I'm going to obviously bring you along on my journey. But for right now, it's just kind of like, we're just going to see what's out there, see what can be done, if it's even financially feasible, if it's, or if I'm just going to basically have to wait till my parents croak before I can get their house. Hopefully it doesn't come to that, but it is what it is. So that's where I'm at right now. So life is a little chaotic in that respect, but in other respects, it's coming together. My health is coming together, my exercise is coming together, my meal planning is coming together. So I feel like I'm at the best part of my life. If this one thing that I've been wanting my whole life would just fall into place, I feel like life would finally be perfect. I don't know. Pray for me, wish me all the luck in the world, because I'm definitely gonna need it. I hope you guys enjoyed my story, but now you kind of know the stress and pressure that I'm under right now and what's going on. But things are starting to finally fall into place, and I'm just hoping that that continues, because I'm ready for some good stuff to start happening in my life. And it feels like I'm moving in that direction, but it's been moving in that direction before, and then it just went so who knows. So anyhow, another thing that I wanted to bring up was the return of Treat Yourself Tuesday. As I'm going on this health journey, I was thinking of how I could motivate myself for my mini goals. I am under 215, so my next mini goal is 210. And I don't have any timeline to meet 210, just whenever I meet 210 is when I get to get something off of my Amazon wish list. And then every 5 pounds that I lose, I will get something off my wish list. Now, if I gain weight back, then I'll have to lose 10 pounds or whatever. Like if I go up to, like, say 220 or something like that, then I'm gonna have to still get down to 210. That number is never gonna go back up. It's always going to stay right there, and that's where the new bar is gonna be set. So every time I hit that or meet that, I can get something off of my Amazon wish list. That's the goal. And then I will show it to you on Treat Yourself Tuesday. So wish me luck. I'm ready. I'm feeling motivated. I'm hoping that I stay motivated and can keep on track and do what I'm supposed to do, because I've screwed around long enough, and it's time to get back on track, and it's time to get my life under control, because it has been out of control for far too long. So anyhow, I hope you guys have a wonderful week and a wonderful weigh-in, and I will talk to you later.